Romans 8 verse 6. For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace.
Question. Pastor Wind, in an earlier Sunday message, you unlocked a revelation. It's about our behavior, our determination, our character. It is contrasted with animals, plants, and elements. When pastors share deeply, in terms of elements, it opens up a new area for us. In the eyes of God, not only do we have to be elements, but there's another level, to be the jewelry and scepter of God. For these gold, silver, and precious stones, how do we integrate and become crowns and ornaments before God's eyes? In the Church of Zion, in addition to constantly changing our character through action and determination, at the same time, God gave Pastor Wind in our lives, through him, the Zion message. This set of information-rich revelations opens to us. That's because not only do we have to be gold, silver, and precious stones, and the wisdom and knowledge hidden in the Zion message should be implemented. And many of our actions, experiences, and so on accumulate. We don't just go to parties to understand the Zion message. By following the pastor and being able to cooperate with the pastor to complete each momentum, in this way, it becomes the crown and scepter in the eyes of God. Is this God's will?
If you look at it this way, let us suppose that the scepter, the crown, you put elements gems in there. In fact, we can also think about it from another angle. Because we always think, this scepter goes with this jewel, this crown goes with this jewel. Try to think of it the other way around. If we look at ourselves as the people who make these elements, these gems, if we were a gem of the highest order, a gem best suited to be set on a wand, well, the wand is with us, actually. As we all know, when evaluating a scepter, is the material of the wand more valuable, or is the gem more valuable? Often, that gem is the most expensive, even the rarest in the world, worth a fortune. In some science fiction movies, people would kill themselves to get a gem. You can see that. In other words, the gem is worth far more than the wand. Therefore, instead of gemstones for staff, the staff for gemstones, the gem is the star. That makes sense, for with authority, power, rewards, and honor worthy of your character, in fact, the character is the main character, anything else is just an attachment or a foil. Imagine, instead of saying this jewel sets off the crown, nor do they compare the material of the crown to the gems embedded in it, so the crown is just a foil, and the gems are where the real value lies. In other words, if you own a crown, you will always look for the best stone to match it. In contrast, people don't go looking for different precious metals to make crowns out of. Why? Because any metal can be used to make it, it's just the difference in purity. Once the crown is made, you search for a protagonist who exceeds the crown's value, and put it on. Therefore, when it comes to the value of this stone, the crown is to go with it, not to go with it, especially for the crown and scepter of the emperor. Of course, we know that crowns and scepters are symbols of authority and throne. However, in terms of the value of the object alone, the jewel in the crown is worth far more than the wand. It's just that when the two are combined, it represents a symbolic meaning. Therefore, in the eyes of God, if we are the fine jewels on his neck, the crowns on his head, we are the jewel. Of course, metals and silver are also used. When we look at the whole character, if you have the divinity and specific qualities of God, the power, the scepter, and the crown that God has given us, it's just an addition. That is, if we deserve it, we will attach it. It is like the Lord Jesus Christ sitting on top of all things. All are put under his feet and sit on the throne of God. But the throne is only his appendage. It does not mean that the throne is more valuable than him. For he is worthy, so it's incidental, it's given to him. All things are never higher than the Lord Jesus, and while that symbolizes a lot of things, but it is only an accessory of the Lord Jesus. So, from this perspective, character is still the most important. The problem is, however, we often hope that there will always be some reward, something in the future. Even in this world, we expect certain rewards and blessings. From the beginning to the end, if you measure it by gems, the most important thing is that we do have a worthy character. Maybe we're a little lost in this area, because, in this day and age, we can pretend, like makeup, it's almost the same as makeup. In front of the model, the actual bottom may be an ant, but when she comes out, you see that everything she's wearing is beautiful, the packaging is outstanding. This means that we have lost sight of reality and packaging. Even one who doesn't deserve it, it can also be packaged to make her look more beautiful and better. But to God, everything He gives you, you deserve. Just as He gave David the throne and offered him the throne, because, at that time, only David deserved it. In what way does he deserve it? Is it good looks? Brave and good at fighting? Or older? None of it. It is his character that deserves it, so are eternal rewards. In the case of gemstones, God made us to be jewels on crowns and scepters. In other words, He found something that matched the wand and was of the highest value. In fact, the wand is worthy of the jewel, to have it, like this little boy. Of women and other children, only the last child, being born is the world's end, and only he deserves it. In fact, it comes from this. Romans 8 verse 6. For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace.
Someday we'll be returning to every memory, and we'll find it no longer bittersweet. So I pray with all my heart you're there with me. We shall see her life so differently. Someday we'll be returning to every memory, and we'll find it no longer bittersweet. So I pray with all my heart you're there with me. We shall see her life so differently. So I pray with all my heart you're there with me. We shall see her life so differently.